All right, so get this, right? Today we're diving into a career path, and you wouldn't believe how often you actually encounter these folks, insurance claims handlers,
Yeah, those are the people you hope you never need, but
but are awfully glad they're there when you do.
exactly. Fender bender, flooded basement, you name it.
Exactly. And we're going deep using some intel from RoleCatcher, that career platform.
Great resource, by the way.
Totally. We're trying to figure out, is this just a job or is it like a hidden career path with some serious potential?
And let me tell you, it's way more interesting than just like signing checks all day.
Really? Tell me more. What's got you so intrigued?
Well, it's that whole blend of, investigation, financial stuff, and people skills. It's a pretty unique combo.
Okay, so scrap the image of endless paperwork and, like, robotic phone calls.
Uh-huh. Well, there's probably a bit of that. But it's so much more than just saying yes or no to a claim. A good claims handler, they're like financial detectives.
I like that. Financial detectives, they're piecing together the case of.
Yes, exactly.
Mhm.
Of what happened, right? They got to navigate all that insurance jargon.
Oh, tell me about it.
And then they use all that to try to figure out a fair outcome for everyone.
Hold on, did you say use data? So this isn't just based on gut feelings.
No way. RoleCatcher actually makes a big deal about needing analytical and statistical skills for this gig.
Makes sense when you think about it.
Right, because like insurance policies, they're all about probabilities, risk assessments, and, well, tons of numbers.
A claims handler has to make sense of it all.
Exactly. They have to take all those numbers and, like, actually apply them in these real-life situations.
Okay, so maybe a little more to it than meets the eye. But I'm thinking that also means there's room to grow, to build a real career here. Am I right?
You are. And that's what I find really interesting. There's a real progression from entry level to, those senior roles.
I'd imagine experience is key, like in a lot of fields.
Oh, absolutely. You could start as an assistant, learn the basics, then take on more and more responsibility. Then as you get more experience, even specialize in like a specific type of insurance. Did you know there are people who handle like only maritime claims?
Wait, so like boats and stuff.
Boats, cargo ships, the whole 9 yards.
Now that you mention it, I do have some questions about what happens when those giant cargo ships run aground.
Another time, maybe.
Right, right. So let's say someone listening is like, maritime claims, not for me, but this whole claims handler thing sounds kind of cool. What's the day-to-day like? Chained to a desk all day.
It's funny you should mention that because RoleCatcher actually talked about how more insurance companies are doing remote work.
Interesting. I guess that makes sense.
Right. And even in an office, no 2 days are the same. One day you could be reviewing accident reports. The next you're on the phone with a client, who's freaking out because their house is damaged.
Yeah, I'd imagine that's a big part of the job.
It's a lot of being adaptable, resourceful, and, being able to empathize with what people are going through.
Okay, so we've got empathy, we've got the analytical stuff. What about negotiating, though? Seems like you'd need those skills to hammer out a settlement that works.
You're right on the money with that one. RoleCatcher actually flagged that as a
Oh.
key skill. Because remember, you're balancing the needs of the policyholder with what the insurance company wants.
It's a balancing act for sure. So do they give like a real world example of this whole negotiation thing in action?
They do. So they talk about, like, imagine someone's car gets caught in, like, a hailstorm, right?
Oof, yeah, that's never fun.
And the policyholder, they want their car fixed with, all brand new parts.
Right. I mean, who wouldn't?
But then the insurance company, they might be thinking, okay, how about we use some refurbished parts to, keep the costs down.
Right, right. Classic conflict of interest.
Exactly. And the claims handler, they're the ones who have to, like, walk that line.
So how do they pull that off?
Well, they've got to explain those sometimes confusing policy terms to the car owner.
Right,
Like, look at all the options.
right.
And then try to find a solution everyone can live with.
Okay, so it's about more than just the numbers. You have to factor in the human element, too.
100%.
Speaking of human interaction, RoleCatcher mentioned some really important skills for this gig. Reading comprehension was way up there. Why is that so crucial in this job?
Well, remember those insurance policies? The ones that are like a million pages long?
Yeah, not exactly light reading.
Now, imagine trying to explain all that to someone who just went through something awful, like an accident or, their house just flooded.
Right. The last thing on their mind is trying to understand legal jargon.
Exactly. It takes serious skill to break all that down. Understand it yourself, then make it make sense for someone who's probably stressed out of their mind.
That's a good point. It's like knowing the rules of the game is one thing, but explaining it in a way that clicks, That's a whole other ballgame.
Totally. And that actually connects to another super important skill they highlighted, active listening.
Ah, so it's not just about talking.
Nope. Think about it. When you're dealing with people who are, stressed, upset, maybe even angry,
Yeah.
being able to really listen and, understand their concerns is huge,
It can make or break the whole interaction.
right? And active listening, it's about more than just, hearing the words right. It's
Yeah.
about picking up on their emotions, asking questions to make sure you get it right.
Yeah, showing them you're really trying to understand.
Yes, making them feel heard.
So to sum it up, being an insurance claims handler isn't just about memorizing a bunch of rules.
Right.
It's about communication, explaining complicated things simply, and knowing how to connect with people on a human level.
Exactly. And those communication skills, they only get more important as you move up in your career, too.
Oh, how so?
Well, remember how we were talking about climbing that career ladder? Well, the more experience you get, the more responsibility you take on. You might find yourself mentoring new hires or presenting cases to your bosses,
Yeah, makes sense.
maybe even running training programs for the whole company.
So there's like a leadership aspect to this whole thing too.
Yeah.
You're not just dealing with claims, but maybe even changing how the whole company handles them.
Exactly. There's always room to grow and do more. But, we can't talk about the future of work without mentioning, well,
The tech stuff.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
RoleCatcher talked about how technology is changing everything about insurance.
Right. Like, what does that even mean for someone who wants to be a claims handler? Are we talking AI and drones taking over everything?
It's a good question.
Hmm.
And yeah, RoleCatcher actually spent some time on it.
What'd they say?
So they said that, those simpler tasks, those might be automated.
Like assessing the damage after a fender bender, that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. But it's the stuff that humans are good at, those skills. Those will be even more important.
Because a computer can't exactly comfort someone who, like, just lost their house.
Right. An algorithm can't really do empathy
Yeah.
or negotiate with someone who's, having a tough time.
So technology pushes the claims handler role to, like, evolve. Less about the routine stuff and more about what humans are uniquely good at.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it.
Wow, this whole deep dive has totally changed how I see this career. I started thinking it was all paperwork and phone calls, but it's way more than that.
It's a very human-centered job when you get down to it.
Totally. Problem solving, thinking critically, really connecting with people.
Oh, and don't forget about constantly learning new things. The insurance world never stands still.
So you're always on your toes.
That's one way to put it.
I like it. Well, folks, that's our deep dive into the world of insurance claims handlers. Big thanks to RoleCatcher for giving us the inside scoop.
Great resource.
The best. We'll be sure to link it in the show notes so you can learn even more.
And this is just the start, really.
Exactly. Consider this your jumping off point. If any of this got you thinking, do your own digging, see if becoming a claims handler is right for you. Until next time, this has been The Deep Dive, signing off.